Hello, hello, gorgeous NFA Money Mamas. It's time for another episode of the Woman Entrepreneur Podcast. And today is a special episode where we have a podcast party. If you don't know about these yet, go to thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com and you'll see a link at the top of the page where you can join. I do these every single month, and it's with a group of women entrepreneurs who are listeners of the podcast, who are building their businesses, who are awesome, incredible people who are here to share their journeys with you and also shout out their businesses. And you're welcome to come on too. So make sure you go to thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com, click on the link, and hang out with us at a party. Today, we're going to talk about how to set your mindset up for success as a woman entrepreneur. And you all know that for me, my biggest I'd say the biggest thing that I had to overcome in order to be where I am today in my business is my mindset. I was incredibly stuck when I started my business in a poverty consciousness mindset where I really felt like the whole entire world was against me. And I used to really just sit in this space of thinking, why was I born as a woman? Why was I born as a brown woman? Why was I born as a working class family, highly religious? I came from a family that was fundamentalist Christian. And so I was very different than everyone around me. And I always felt I didn't have the words for it at the time, but I felt very marginalized and I felt inferior. And so, as I went through the world, I created my relationships around that way of being. It was a lot about, I'm not as good as you, I'm less than, I'm subordinate. It caused a lot of codependency issues, which caused me to really not believe in myself and have low self-confidence. So I would get into certain settings, like when I went to grad school, I remember I would raise my hand in class and I would literally start sweating and my heart would be racing. And I'd be like, oh my God, does everyone see that I'm like so afraid to speak up? And I had this internal fire that I wanted to share with the world, but I was also just really socially anxious and not confident. And so, for me, what happened is that I started to awaken to mindset stuff. And really it started with self-confidence and reading about codependency. And I was on the floor crying one night. I had left my 15-year marriage having an affair and my next relationship wasn't working. And I'm on the floor crying because my boyfriend had moved out and the basement was empty. And so here I am going, oh my God, I have to move out of my house. I've got 3 kids. I'm in grad school. I was already on food stamps. I was already working an extra job trying to make sure I could get by and get through grad school because I thought this is my way out. And I remember just sitting there thinking, what is the common issue here? Like, what's the problem? Why am I so screwed up? And I sat up and I had this almost like epiphany moment, and I wouldn't have known to label it that way at the moment. But when I had this thought, it was, oh my God, I'm the problem. Like I'm the common denominator in all of these issues that I'm having in my life. And in that moment, I made a declaration to myself and I said, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to have better relationships and make more money. And it led me to listening to podcasts because they were free and I could listen on the go. And so as I was listening, I started to change everything from the inside out. Most of those podcasts had to do with changing your mindset. And so for me, the biggest struggle that I've overcome as a woman in the world and to become a powerful entrepreneur and even to be able to say that I'm a powerful entrepreneur is mindset stuff. And so it's why I love to bring to you mindset strategies that help you be more successful as a woman entrepreneur. And, in particular for me, I like to work with women because I know that feeling of being subordinated. And I know that not all women feel this way. And yet I know we live in a culture and a society where it still can be a common issue. And, I was talking to my daughters the other day, and we were talking about the Fair Credit Act and how women weren't even able to buy a house or get a credit card until 1976 by themselves. And even then it wasn't easy because, it was not normative. And so people still had to get their husband or their father to co-sign. And this is crazy to think about, and I'm a really powerful woman. As I've gotten to step into my power and really own my genius, I'm pretty intense. And I hid that for a lot of my life. And so it's so fun to have this mindset transformation and get to hang out with women like the women here today who you're going to hear from and hear about their journey into becoming a more powerful person who can own a business and be a badass in the world and share their gifts with the world and make money doing it. And so this is why I love what I do. It's why I have a podcast, because I know how empowering it can be. It's free information on the go. I mean, you can completely transform your life just through podcasts. So that's what this podcast is all about. That's what this episode today is all about. So I want to start. We're going to go around the circle of women who are here today to share their gifts, their wisdom, their vulnerabilities, and tips for you. And the question that they're going to answer in a roundtable style is, what's the biggest mindset struggle you've overcome as an entrepreneur? And a quick tip for the listeners to overcome their mindset issues. So one big struggle and something you've done to overcome that struggle. And each person's going to go for 3 minutes. So I'm going to be timing them because I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to talk. So let's go with PollyAnna first. So go ahead, PollyAnna.
Thank you so much for having me. And this is one of my most favorite topics. And the reason why is because mindset for me also changed my entire life and my entire business. And the one for me that was the biggest shift was shifting out of feeling like the assistant and becoming the expert and the powerful CEO in my business. And a big part of that was how I was living my life, because as we know, these ideas and mindsets and beliefs seep into our real world experience. And so they touch all of our relationships. And what I found over and over again was that in every relationship I had, I was the one who was trying to do everything. And so in doing that, I thought, I'm being helpful. I am showcasing my value. And no, I was putting myself below everyone else, being the person who had to do the most, who everyone relied on. But because I was doing everything, it was really hard. And when everything's really hard and people become expectant for you to do everything, all of a sudden now you're letting people down. And so it puts you below everyone else in a really weird subconscious psychological way. And so leaving my marriage was the start of this transition, because I was expected to run the business, run the house, handle all of the things. And it was too much. It was too much for me. And for me, I got to my breaking point around the time where I was getting about 4 hours of broken up sleep a night, and it just wasn't sustainable. And so I had all of these things that I had to learn to do, and I had to learn boundaries for me, and I had to understand my place. I had to understand that I was valuable because I was. I was a genius at what I did, and I didn't have to prove it. I just had to sit in it. And in doing that, I was able to be more productive and be of higher service. But when you step out of the assistant role and into that expert CEO role, you just demand that respect from your presence. And it's in how you communicate and in the boundaries that you set. It just shifts everything in such a beautiful way. And it revolutionized everything.
Wow. I love that you've been here for every party and I don't know any of these things about you. Thank you for sharing. That is awesome. Wow. I love that step into the expert CEO role. Oh, thank you, PollyAnna. That was awesome. All right, let's go with Mimi next.
Hi, I'm Mimi Whittaker, and I am in Northern California. I am a certified life mastery coach. And I think for me, I've been working in the world of mindset, goal setting for many, many years, probably longer than some of these ladies have been around on the planet. And I think what's the most important part for anyone, especially business women, is to really lean into your intuition, because the intuition will tell you what to do. And sometimes you get to this point where you're very hesitant about what to do, which direction to go. But if you really listen to yourself, you'll be able to navigate that. And it also helps to have what we call a partner in believing, someone you can talk to who will always tell you the best of who you are. Because sometimes we forget that. We forget, we're scared. We don't know what to do. We're not sure which way to go. And if you have that one or two people that you can rely on, who will tell you, you've overcome this, you've overcome that. And as a woman in later age, I've already been through a lot of stuff. And so, but even so, some women are afraid to step out at an older age. Some women are afraid because of their circumstances, going through divorce, going through child issues, health issues for some people. But when we really return to our source through our intuition, we can literally overcome anything. And I'm so glad to be here. This is my first time at this podcast. And thank you so much, Dr. Amanda, for inviting me.
Absolutely. It's great to hear from you. I love this tip. Lean into your intuition. And something I love about intuition is that the more you lean into it, the more you listen to it, the louder it gets. And so that's a really, really powerful tip. Thank you, Mimi. All right, let's go next with Christina.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with all of you lovely ladies. Thank you so much for inviting me and letting me be a part of the group today. My name is Christa Pepper. I am an online personal trainer and coach. And, for me, I love listening to everybody's stories. And I think as women, we so often identify ourselves as the roles that we play. And, I've heard a couple of us, we're talking about divorce, right? And moms, and we identify who we are by those roles. And so often when those roles transition and change, hopefully for the better, we get a little lost in the process, right? And like you were saying, Dr. Amanda, you had to look at yourself. What was the common denominator in all of these situations? And I've been there too. I had postpartum depression. I was morbidly obese. I had all of these things, an unsupportive marital situation, all of these things. And you start looking at yourself and you're like, what can I do here? What can I do here? And for me personally, I went through this, I knew that losing weight was my big goal in life, but it wasn't eat my vegetables and go for a walk, right? Because we all know to do those things, right? We know that that's what's going to help us. It was more of the fact that I had to learn that I couldn't hate myself into becoming the woman I wanted to be. Whether that was losing the weight, whether that was being the mom I wanted to be, or the businesswoman I wanted to be, I couldn't hate myself into making those transitions. I had to learn to love myself. I had to learn to, like Mimi was talking about, kind of get a board together that I could use as my board members to help me redirect that energy to kind of say, hey, you're doing okay. Or, is this the best idea? And, in that process, one of the things that I learned to do was celebrate the small wins. Like I said, postpartum depression, all of this stuff that happens, divorce, life transitions, losing your house, changing houses, children, all this stuff. Some days in my day planner and in my journal, I would write down, I took a shower. Congratulations. And it's the smallest things. And it seems so silly sometimes because we have all these huge goals of life and, I'm going to conquer the world, and you will. But sometimes conquering the world literally starts with getting up and taking the damn shower.
So good. And I apologize. I said I called you Christina, but it's Christa.
All good.
Thank you. That was amazing. I love this. You said, can't hate myself into being the woman I want to be. One of my favorite quotes is Abraham Hicks saying, You can't have a happy ending to a miserable journey. And that's exactly what you're talking about. It's so powerful, right? Like if you think you're going to whip yourself into shape by hating yourself, you're actually just recreating that. And it goes completely against the law of attraction, right? You can't get what you want doing what you don't want to do. And so, I think it's really important to love yourself. And that is what Christa highlighted. Thank you so much. All right, let's go, Leslie.
Hey, everybody. Nice to meet you. I am Leslie Lane Peabody, the ninja in high heels. And I love what you talk about this community. There's a whole story there. We'll talk about that later. But I love what you talk about in this community, being a bunch of women taking care of each other. I think that is so important. So my story kind of starts similarly to what others here have. I was sitting at my desk, and my stomach was in knots. I felt like I was going to die. I had just reconciled the phone bill, and I saw all of these charges to the same number at all hours of the night. I knew what that meant, right? I was a little tense, but finally I figured out what that meant. And what it meant was an end to all of my hopes and dreams. We had built a custom house together. I didn't have children until we had the house. Everything I wanted was wrapped up in this relationship that now needed to end. But I had babies and I didn't want to end it. So I went through years figuring out I'm this badass woman at work and I would never put up with that shit. But now I'm putting up with that shit because I have children that I don't want to take their dad away. And ultimately, God solved my problem because he hit me over the head with a 2x4. I didn't take action. And years later, God made my oldest son and his dad have a little tiff. And that's when I finally took action. When God made me take action. So, I struggled. I struggled for a long time. It was a 2-income family. I had to go to a 1-income family. I was a single mom now with a good income, but a 2-income house. How was I going to keep my babies home? And that's how I found my entrepreneur journey. But I still had that trash inside of my head saying, when you manage your finances, you're going to uncover things that are going to ruin your life. That was a huge thing to get over. And I got to be honest, I still work on that today. But what helped me was taking baby steps, the smallest, teeniest, tiny steps, kind of like Christa was saying. It was about pulling down the bank statements today or opening the mail today was a big deal for me. So now I teach badass women how to reach out and embrace their badassery and manage their money on a day-to-day basis with just minutes a day. So you open your bank statement or you open Quicken or you open whatever, and you see everything you want right there. You know where you are today. You have your money split out and it's not a pain in the butt. And if you do it every day, you don't get bit in the butt by these huge problems that become problems in your life. If I had opened my statements every month, that wouldn't have been a problem for so long. I wouldn't have discovered it so late in the relationship. I would have discovered it earlier, and my life might have been a little bit different. So thank you so much for having me here. And I think this is going to be a great group of women to get to know. You should follow every one of them. I know I'm going to.
Yeah. Oh, Leslie, so great. Thank you. Ninja in high heels. That is awesome. And, you made me write down this question. How many times have we made money decisions based on a crappy relationship? Or that's rough, right? And I know at least all of us so far have talked about this. I'm not exactly sure yet what Sarah's going to say, but for me, I've made many decisions in my history about staying in relationships that weren't the most aligned because I didn't have another way around it. I moved in with someone and lived with him for many years because I was tired of sleeping on the floor and not having a bedroom. And I was like, this is the best option available at the time. And so money mindset mastery is so important for women. I love that you highlighted that. Thank you, Leslie. All right, Go for it, Sara.
Hello, everyone. It's such a delight and honor to be here. I am Sara Yamtich, and I'm the founder of a digital marketing agency for thought leaders of the new paradigm called Conscious Conversion. And I too have a long story that could go well beyond 3 minutes, like all of us. I think really there's so many mindset lessons. I was listing them all out as we were talking, like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start and how to make this all coalesce into one thing. But a big one for me is, I have a master's in social work. And so my ultimate goal in life, or what my driving motivation is service, is to make the world a better place, to help transform the world, to help the evolution of consciousness on this planet. And digital marketing is not the first thing you think of. And when you think of those things, and yet, I found myself starting my own digital marketing agency also as a single mom who was wanting to live my dreams, work remotely, travel the world, and be in service. And while also being a badass single mom who was paying everything on my own. And all of those things can totally happen. And you still have, as somebody who is deeply spiritual, I had to overcome what I call a spiritual vow of poverty, an unconscious spiritual vow of poverty that we social worky type people, those of us that want to be in service, it's almost as if it's this ancestral thing that we have, where it's like, I can't abide by capitalism, I can't believe that, if I make money, then somebody else isn't making money. And so I must shun that in order to be in service to the planet, in order to be a good person. But you can't really do that and be a powerful entrepreneur and a single mom who is in service to the planet. Those two things actually don't work together. So a big mindset shift for me was that it is not a zero-sum game, and that we can all, speaking of community, we can all collaborate, and there's infinite abundance, and we are each the creator of our own infinite abundance, and we can live in integrity to our mission on the planet and live within a capitalist society and framework. We just have to reframe what that means. We have to shift the paradigm of what our economic systems really, really are doing in the world. And just really, for me, it's integrating my vow of service and my spirituality into every facet of my business. A huge way I shifted my mindset really was 5 years ago, getting up every morning at the crack of dawn. I'm not saying everyone has to do this, but this is what works for me. And entering into a state of ceremonial prayer, and really just if I'm freaking out about money, which I have done many times, if I'm freaking out, it's entering into a state of prayer and entering into a state of trust, and knowing that no matter what happens, even if I have a negative balance in my bank account, thank God I don't these days, but even if I did, I can still be in a state of trust and gratitude.
Thank you, Sara. This is such a heartfelt space, and I so appreciate everyone's vulnerability, because everyone who's listening resonates in some way, right? Who hasn't created an unconscious vow of some sort that's blocking them from flow? Whether it's financial, relational, spiritual, being abundant and prosperous, right? So we all have unconscious vows that we've made contracts with that it's time to let go of. And I love that Sara hit on that, because, how are you going to start to break through and shift your energy? And each woman here has given really incredible tips in different ways that they have faced their own mindset demons and overcome it by reframing. I thought Sara was maybe going to talk about her ceremonial dancing in the morning when she gets up, and ceremonial prayer. Her and I got to do a podcast episode together, and it was like, oh my God, I love that. For me, sometimes when I'm in my office and I want to shift my energy, I'll turn on a song, and I'm like, no one here or anyone in my personal life would never say I'm a dancer, but when I'm in my office alone, I like to sing and dance. And so I'm like, it just shifts the energy, right? This is all about this podcast is really about shifting your energy. I love to be an inspiration to the world, and I attract women like the women who are here today, and all of you listening who are ready to shift your energy to up level and attract exactly what you choose to attract in your life. And so thank you so much for sharing all of your tips. That was awesome. One thing I'd love for us to do is go around before we have everyone share how you can find them. I want us all to go around and just give this. This is for an awesome reel that we like to create from this episode. I want you to share 3 power words that describe you as a woman entrepreneur now. Like, what are 3 power words that describe you as like your most powerful, badass self? 3 words. And we're just going to go around in the circle. I'll say your name and then just say your 3 words. And then we'll have you all introduce yourselves and share where people can find you and offer a free giveaway for all of the listeners. So let's start. We're going to go the opposite direction we went before. We're going to start with you, Sara.
Oh boy, I've got 2 written down so far. I know it's a buzzword, but I am authentic. Like you, I am fully transparent. You will get the truth from me at all times, and it will probably be warm and fuzzy, even if it is a tough, challenging truth. Another one, this one's kind of funny, but it's the first one that came to my mind, is angelic. I like to embody an angelic frequency as much as possible in life, and sort of radiate as much love and goodness as I can. And I suppose the third one would be powerful. I have a very powerful presence. So there you have it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, go for it. Well, let's see. We're going to go backwards. Leslie.
Well, how fun is this? All right. So my word for the year is outrageous. Outrageous, because I want to do outrageous things, have fun, that kind of thing, and ask you questions that you never thought you would ever ask yourself. My second word, of course, is fun or joy, because we need to live life. The journey is where we're going. So let's have fun on the journey every single day. And my third, this is kind of similar to what Sara just said, but mother, M-U-T-H-E-R, because I believe that we need to mother, M-O-T-H-E-R, our children and our clients, but we also need to give them the mother, the disciplinarian, the tough talker. Honey, you need to take a shower today. You really do, girlfriend. Whatever it takes to get there, but we have to do it with love. And sometimes that's tough love, but it's always with love. So those are my 3 words.
Thank you, Leslie. All right, go for it, Christa.
Oh, this is fun. I love doing things like this. So I think my 3 words would be fierce, focused, and confident as F. Because that seems to be the season. We've gone through, I think most of us have gone through our season of being resilient, with something we always are. And so now it's all about just showing up in our true power, our true potential, and helping others do the same. So I think those 3 words those are mine for this one.
Love it. All right, go for it, Mimi.
Okay, I am going to go with intuitive and radiant and radical gratitude. I'm almost militant on gratitude.
Militant gratitude. I love it. All right, thank you, Mimi. Go for it, PollyAnna.
Courageous, aligned storyteller. For me, everything comes back to storytelling and connecting with people, and that covers every single thing I do in my entire life. And not afraid to do the hard things and the tough things and the uncomfortable things to really get what I want.
And does everyone hear the power in all of these women's, just, I want to say badassery? Like, I love it. I think this is a great moment when you're listening to this podcast to go back and just play that on a loop for a little while and integrate those power words that everyone shared, because then you'll walk away high vibe from this episode and my job has been done. All right, let's go next. We're going to go into 2 minutes each of, I like to think of this almost as like speed round dating. It's like you're sharing with the audience in 2 minutes or less where they can find you. So your name, your business name, where they can connect with you, share a link to a giveaway for the listeners. And then one ask of the audience. This could be like, hey, I'm looking for new clients. Come hang out with me here. It could be, oh, I'm looking to get on a new podcast. Do you have a podcast? Reach out to me, that kind of thing. So these are going to be in 2 minutes. So everyone gets a chance to go, and we will start. Let's go. We're going to start a different space. Let's start with Christa.
All right. Oh, this is so fun. Oh my goodness. So, like I said, my name is Christa Pepper. I am in the process of rebranding. As we've all kind of talked about, those life transitions happen and things need to shift a little bit. So the best place to find me, honestly, right now is on Instagram. My handle is It's Coach Christa, Chrisista. So super easy place to find me. And at the process that I'm in right now, I have a couple of programs that I am taking on new clients. I want to get on the phone and connect with other women. I want to talk to you about your health, your fitness, your holistic goals, because again, we all know to eat our broccoli and go for a walk. There's so much more to it. I very much believe in habit change, slow progressive changes, mindset shifts. So I would love to connect with other women as far as where you're at in your journey, what it is that you're struggling with. And if we can connect together and we can work a program together, then awesome. Hit me up in the DMs and we can totally chat.
Wonderful. Thank you, Christa. All right, go for it, Mimi.
Hey, Mimi Whittaker. You can find me on Facebook. And if you can come into my Facebook group, which Dr. Amanda hates, but I have one anyway.
I don't hate your group. I just don't enjoy Facebook groups.
And it's the Radiant Life. And so anyway, MimiWhitaker.com. It's pretty easy. It's also my email. I would love to connect with people who are ready and willing to transform their lives, go for their dreams, and really focus on that. And I have several programs that I offer as well. And I've lived it. So as I coach you through these programs, it's because I've been there already. And almost every one of us, I think, has been a single mother. I've been a single mother, business owner, living really on our own grit. So I would love to connect with all of you. And thank you so much for allowing me into this group.
Absolutely. I'm going to go back real quick because I want to make sure everyone spells it for podcast listeners. So Mimi Whittaker would be MimiWhittaker.com. MimiWhittaker.com. Christa, will you share yours real quick? Spell out your handle for Instagram.
Yeah, it's ITS Coach Christa, CHRISTA.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, PollyAnna, it's your turn.
Hey, everybody. I'm PollyAnna Brown with M4 Mastery, and I am a messaging and media strategist. I do a little ghostwriting for clients from time to time. Basically, everything for me revolves around story and getting your message out to millions of people who you want to engage with. And you can get a ton of freebies on my milkshake link. It is msha.ke/PollyAnna Writes. It's PollyAnnaWrites. And you can find a bunch of goodies in there. And if you are looking to get your message out to your ideal people, I actually have a secret offer going on right now that I have not told anyone publicly. It's been invite only, and I have 2 spots left. So if you are interested in that because you are on Dr. Amanda's podcast, then you can run over and talk to me about it in the DMs.
Awesome. Thank you. And just so listeners know, all these links will also be in the show notes. So you can go there for them if you're driving or running and didn't get to write them down. All right, go for it, Sara.
Hello, everyone. Again, I am Sara Yamtich, and I'm the founder of Conscious Conversion, which is a digital marketing agency specializing in paid advertising on Facebook and Instagram, and also organic social media content creation and funnel building, copywriting, all the things. One-stop shopping for the sort of spiritual entrepreneur. And I have a quiz on my website, consciousconversion.com. I'll spell it in a moment. But you go there and there is a quiz called What Kind of Paradigm Shifter Are You? And it breaks it up into 4 different archetypes, and it's really fun. The results are super, super fun. So go to consciousconversion.com. It's CONSCIOUS, conversion, CONVERSION.com. You can also find I like sending people to my personal Instagram because it's more fun than my business Instagram, and that's Resonate with Sara. So RESONATE with WITH, Sara, no H, SARA. So
Nice.
hit me up there because it's more fun. And I think that's it. Did I cover? One ask of the audience. You know what? I really love going on podcasts. I really do. I feel like I show up best in conversation. I like to have philosophical conversations with people about marketing and how to integrate business and spirituality and sexuality and money and all of these things. I like to talk about all of it. So hit me up if you've got a podcast.
Yeah, such a fun. We had such a fun time on your podcast too. So good. Okay, wonderful. Leslie, go for it.
Hey. I'm Leslie Lane Peabody, the ninja in high heels. And the best place to find me is on Instagram. It's my name, LESLIE, so the boy's name, LANE, Lane, like a road, and then Peabody, PEABODY, like Professor Peabody from the children's cartoon. And that's also my website, www.leslieLanePeabody.com. So I'm Leslie Lane Peabody everywhere, and I think I'm the only one. And if you can't find me that way, find the ninja in high heels. Hopefully, I'm still the only one of those too. So I call myself a financial and a mental toughness coach because sometimes you have to be mentally tough to get your finances in order. And what I'd like to give away today to your listeners is a way to get a $10,000 raise. I call it the financial makeover. Give yourself a $10,000 raise without even asking your boss. So I have a little workshop that does that. And what I would ask of the audience is if you have a podcast or you have something like that where I could come and give your audience some value, where I could help people. My goal is to help 1 million people before I die, 1 million women before I die. So I need your help to get out there and help every woman learn to be financially independent, and then she can make her own darn choices about the rest of her life.
Woohoo! I want to cheer for all of these. Thank you, Leslie. And Leslie and Sara, best way to contact you if they want you on is just go to your website and there's contact info there.
Yeah, or Instagram.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that works. Just want to make sure. Sometimes I forget, like, oh yeah, people are listening, so we got to make sure they know how to connect with you. Also, for the women here, make sure you put all of your contact information in the chat. That way, each of you can connect with each other here and be a resource to one another. We're running. We have 10 minutes left. And so, I love this community. Again, like I shared at the beginning, podcasting has dramatically changed my life. If I didn't listen to those podcasts when I was in a really dark, scary place, I don't even know where I would be today. And so, one of my quests when that happened and I started listening to podcasts was like, I want to have my own. And so I've had a long standing love affair with podcasts, and I don't see that ever ending. And that's why I like to have these parties. So if you haven't yet, come on for a podcast party, come on. And if you have, you can come back again too. So just go to thewomanontrepreneurpodcast.com. There's a link at the top of the page. Another cool thing that we're doing that I don't know if everyone knows about is that we're having every other week webinars. On these webinars, we cover money mindset, manifestation, business scaling tips. And it's you come on, we hang out together, learn, and then you ask questions and we share there. And parts of that get recorded for the podcast as well. And so it's just another great way to hang out with me, hang out with women entrepreneurs in the community. So that link is also at the top of the page of the womenentrepreneurpodcast.com. So, one thing I like to share is in terms of thinking about that mindset piece, one thing that I love helping women do in their businesses is step into their zone of genius powers and really refine their business offerings from a place of joy and knowing exactly what they're good at so that they can make easier money doing what they enjoy. And so one thing that I've done in that refinement of my zone of genius has been to cut things that seem like busy work or things that aren't in my zone of genius. And so we've really refined NFA money in big ways lately. And for those of you listening, NFA is my company, NFA, no fucking around money. And the podcast is my main way that I connect with people in my business community. And so, everything that I'm tailoring now and creating and crafting goes to that concept of how can I hang out with more women and have these awesome conversations and then get that content out into the world to share it and have that grow my company, because that's what I enjoy doing. I'm really good at on the fly coming up with great conversations. And then when we do the webinars, I get to coach people live time with questions that they have. And so I love doing those things. I could do those things all day long. So it's a way that I've structured these podcasts and get to enjoy hanging out. So thank you so much to all of you for being here. It's been really, really fun. Thank you to the listeners who are also still here. Make sure that you connect with all of the women who have been here today. And by the time this is released, there will actually be a link on the top of the page for the Women Entrepreneur Podcast also to invite you to a community. So I'm creating the Women Entrepreneur Podcast community, and this is a free place for you to come and hang out. I keep getting requests for it. And like Mimi said pre-show, we were talking about how I'm not a huge fan of Facebook groups. I don't know why. I kind of missed the Facebook. I don't know. I never got on Facebook. So Facebook is my least trafficked and also least engaged platform. And so I'm like, how can I create community in a way that feels fun for me? And I already have a community for my mastermind group. And so I thought, oh, this is another place that we could hang out. So I'm doing it on Mighty Network, and it'll be a group like that where we can share resources and hang out together. So if anyone's listening and they want to join me there, head on over to the Women Entrepreneur Podcast page and all the resources are there. Again, thank you for being here. And you know that I love you all so much. And I'm sending you big hugs and NFA money-making high fives. Thanks for listening to this episode. Did you know that you are invited to the Women Entrepreneur Podcast Party? This is your opportunity to come on the show to network with other women entrepreneurs and to discuss a business topic. Plus, it's a great way to shout out your business to podcast fans. These are once-a-month parties with only 10 spots available. Go to thewomanentrepreneurpodcast.com and grab your spot now. I can't wait to see you there.